My girlfriend doesn't see my foster kids as my real kids, so I chose them over her.
What you say is, you're not my real girlfriend, and you break up with her.
My girlfriend M and I met when we were at university almost 10 years ago. We had been friends on and off since then, but it was never like we were super close. We met again at a New Year's party in 2023, and we started talking more, and eventually we started dating. Ooh. I am a foster parent. My parents were also foster parents when I was growing up, and once I reached an age to qualify, I trained to become one myself. I've been fostering since I was about 22 years old.
Wow.
That is
I didn't know you could do it that young.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I currently foster 3 boys. The older 2 are biological brothers and moved in with me early 2022, but the youngest one is 11 and has lived with me since June 2019. And 11 is in quotes, so I think he might just be going by 11. They like Stranger Things.
Yeah, I was questioning the quotation marks.
Or maybe he might be 11. They're like, we don't know.
Could be both. He's 11 and he goes by 11. 11! By the way, this comes from user throwra5267981 on the r/OKStorytime subreddit. This is something that I obviously made very clear to M when we started dating, to which she has always been incredibly supportive. I introduced her as my, quote, girlfriend to them about 6 months ago. I know that took me a long time, but I'm super cautious with introducing new people to them, especially considering some of their past surrounding step-parents.
I think that's very fair.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it worked out based on the title.
You want to have a stable environment for the foster children. She never rushed me into introducing them and has never tried to force a relationship with them. Looking back, I don't know if she has even tried to form a solid relationship with them at all. 11 has been moved to a long-term placement with me, which is 2 steps below adoption. It means he is never going to be removed from my household or reintroduced back into his biological family. He is my son, calls me dad, etc. He hadn't been in contact with his biological family for over 2 years and has been really wanting to get in contact with his mom. I've been trying my hardest to arrange this for him, but his bio mom just hasn't been willing since he's moved in with me. She's had 3 more children. I have all stayed living with her. This is something 11 really struggles with. He has such complex feelings of abandonment that I couldn't even begin to unpack them here. But I have been working to build his self-worth back up. It has been a long road with so many ups and downs, but I feel like I'm getting somewhere with him finally. Wow, shout out to 11. My heart goes out to you, 11.
That's really, I mean, like, good on OP too of like actually taking the time as a seemingly young person, taking the time to do this and to actually be like a good foster parent.
Yeah, clearly has a mission, is passionate about the mission, and is being a good foster parent. Me and his social worker finally managed to arrange contact with his bio mom, and that she agreed to meet him in person. This has been what he has been begging for years. It was arranged for last Sunday. Looking back, she immediately seemed off after I told her. When I asked, she just told me that she had a bad day at work, even though she seemed fine prior. About 5 days after I told her when the contact was arranged for, she asked to meet up for a romantic dinner. I asked my mom to have the boys for the evening and met her at her favorite restaurant. She told me she had booked a romantic lodge trip, and I was initially excited. But I found out she had booked it for the same weekend 11 was meeting his bio mom.
Ooh.
Bad timing.
And presumably OP has informed her of this.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just an unfortunate coincidence.
Miscommunication?
I told her I wouldn't be able to go, that I needed to be with 11 because I knew that he was going to have such a hard time processing his emotions and thoughts after his contact, and that he would just need that support. She went off on me. Ugh. Gross. Saying how I always prioritize the boys and never her, and how I should be happy that she booked and paid for the getaway even though I make more money than her. She said I should get my mom to do the contact or ask the agency to arrange someone. I said no, I wanted to be there to support 11. She said something along the lines of, "You won't be able to do this when we have a child."
Whoa.
Yikes. Yo, sounds like a little potential bridezilla.
Yeah.
Or
someone's a little jelly.
Momzilla.
Very jealous.
Yeah.
I mean, she's, I don't know, it just clearly doesn't understand the connection that Opie has with his foster kids. And you would think that she would take an effort. Like, this is a really big, journey to go on as a person, just to like, and also, you know, making sure that the foster kids are okay and you're okay emotionally to support them and stuff, and then just not having a supportive partner.
She's just acting like they're like starter kids.
Yeah, she's like just practicing on them.
They're just the test run kids, right? So you're gonna throw these ones out, and when we get new ones that I make, those are the ones you're allowed to care about. Yeah. We ended up having a huge argument. She left the restaurant and then texted me some pretty nasty things later. And then yesterday, she messaged just normal messages as if nothing happened, but I haven't responded. That's right, because you have emotional boundaries and they were crossed.
I hate just glossing over.
Yeah, the gloss.
The gloss.
It's so uncomfortable. I've come to realize that she doesn't consider my boys as genuinely part of my family. She doesn't see me as a dad. She sees me as a babysitter. I don't want this relationship to be over. Genuinely, I do love her. I'm the type of guy who wears his heart on his sleeve. And I have felt so depressed since the fight. And it was even worse that I just had to almost wear an emotional mask for 11 the past week because he has been so depressed after seeing his mom that I don't want him to see me depressed. Where do I go from here? Please don't give the advice of just break up, because I know that's an option, but I don't want to take it. It's hard finding people with what I do for a living, and I feel so broken that I thought I had found someone real.
Oh.
There is an update.
I think that if OP doesn't want to break up, which is, you know, kind of what I'm leaning on, but I think if that's not the first option, then it's having a full-on saying like, hey, we need to talk because we can't just move on. We can't just move past like that fight that we had, and explaining, you know, these kids are going to be in my life beyond just, you know, when I legally have to take care of them. I have bonded with them and they are important to me, and I see them as my kids, and just saying like, if you can't handle that, then maybe we need to explore, you know, breaking up.
Yeah. You need to definitely
have a conversation.
Sit down and have like a very serious conversation.
Yeah, and make it clear where it's everything about your relationship with it.
You're thinking that me fostering children is a hobby. This is not a hobby.
It's not temporary.
These are my children, and I will probably foster more children in the future, as well as any biological children we may or may not have in our theoretical future relationship. But like, if you literally just see my kids as like a bonus, just something just like tacked on, where it's like something for your resume, like for like college or whatever. It's like, yeah, this will look good for the college board. Yeah, I foster some children. But let's get into this update and see what happened. Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for the support I got for my first post. I really appreciate all the love I got sent about me and the boys.
Me and the boys.
I just wanted to clarify some things from my original post. Some people made a lot of really unfounded assertions about me and my family based simply off of a post. People saying that I would let M abuse my sons, obviously not true. I think it's mad that people would even come to that conclusion. I was slow to introduce M to my boys due to their past trauma with step-parents, only introducing them about 6 months ago. Looking back, I can notice that she was very distant with the boys, but at the time, I had attributed that to her maintaining boundaries because of their past trauma. I had people commenting that I would be giving my sons up when I had biological children, which is not true or was never even suggested by me.
This is crazy because OP is, I feel like, made it very clear that he was super offended by his girlfriend's, you know, words.
I think it's more like people just trying to say that that's inevitably what you're gonna have to do. It's like, once you have your real kids.
Very companion on the floor.
Yeah, dog. No free sponsors. We're not sponsored by dogs. Okay, yeah, free sponsors for dogs.
Yes,
free sponsors for dogs.
Ava's with us for a month.
Yes.
What? Really?
Ava, you want to read the rest of the story? No. Yeah? Okay.
She turned around.
Does it involve a tennis ball?
I don't think so, but it definitely could.
There's definitely some bounce to this story.
Yeah, we're about to get bouncing. I really don't need to say this, but obviously it's not true, and it's pretty insulting to even try to suggest. I also had people commenting that I shouldn't call my children because they haven't been legally adopted. 11 has been long-term matched with me, and my other 2 are in the same process. They are as permanent as biological children. I see them no different, and they don't see themselves as any different.
Yeah, also, it's literally just because legally OP cannot adopt them because they have, you know, the family situation. That doesn't make them any less OP's kids.
Yeah, I love people on the internet just trying to like mansplain. Like,
yeah, they're like,
actually, you can't even call those your children because they're not legally on a piece of paper, not technically your kid. So shut up,
Have you ever heard of Found Family? Someone didn't watch The Last of Us.
I got Family.
What?
All right, Vin. Let's finish this update.
They're just going over your head, Sophia, today.
Yeah,
it's
I don't
fine.
know
That
any
was
of
Vin
these.
Diesel Family.
I haven't watched any of
Vin
the
Diesel
Fast and Furious.
All right,
Doesn't
we're
watch
gonna watch
Top
all
Gun, doesn't
12
watch
of them.
Fast and
I've
Furious.
seen Top Gun.
No, you have not. It seems like it.
I even had people saying I was perpetuating toxic masculinity by saying I was wearing a mask to support 11 while he was depressed after seeing his mom. This guy just couldn't win on all
Catch a
sides.
break.
He's
OP's
getting
like, I was
blasted.
trying to be there, but I was going through a really hard time.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, you're the worst.
He's like, you're just being a toxic man by not feeding into
Feel
the
your
depressed
emotions.
state of mind that 11 was in. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Ava was she was actually trying to take the phone to read the story. She was trying to take the cable. Yeah, but poor OP is just getting it from all angles in the story.
Hits on all sides.
Everyone's telling him he's doing it wrong. I expressed my emotions to him plenty. He did not need anything additional at that time. I did wear a mask so I could support him without him thinking I was feeling overwhelmed, which is something you do as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
can't put all of your problems as an adult onto children.
And people would be like, yo, you're being toxic. Just thought I'd hop on and give an update about where Em and I are at currently with our relationship. I messaged Em back and asked that we meet up and have a conversation in person. By this point, I had already decided I was going to officially end things with her, but I didn't say that over the phone as I think it's more proper to do it in person. We met up in town. I asked her why she booked the holiday for the same weekend as 11's visit, even though she knew it was then. Okay, so we know she knew.
Literally knew.
Mm-hmm.
That's even worse. She did it on purpose.
Yeah.
She was trying to see if he would place her as a priority, and this was the test.
And he didn't pass the test for her, but he passed the test for 11.
Yeah, he passed the test and she failed her own test that she didn't realize was actually a gotcha for herself. She told me she, quote unquote, forgot. But honestly, I don't believe her. I think this was a test.
Yes, I call it.
Someone commented that she purposefully put me in a position where I could not be the good guy. No matter what I would choose, someone would be let down. And honestly, I think she underestimated my devotion to my children. She thought I would just go with her, and I think she was genuinely shocked when I didn't. But I don't understand why. I am quite accommodating, but I've always made it clear my children are my first priority. I asked her if she fully understood what my boys mean to me. She said she did, but then in the same breath tried to say again that I could have arranged someone from the agency to take him to the visit. I asked how she would have felt if your father canceled an important day with you to go on holiday with their girlfriend. And she said to me, you aren't their dad. You need to stop acting like you are. Girl, you are not getting it.
Not getting it.
It is not getting through to you, is it?
Thick brain, not going through. Wires are crossed.
These are his children.
So they literally call him dad.
His kids. In his heart, that's what they are.
I don't know what she's on.
I tried to say something planned that I had written out before, but I'm such a bad speaker, it probably didn't sound anything as good as what I'm about to write. But this is what my plan was. Quote, I am their father. I am. Just because they aren't related to me by blood does not mean they're not my family. They are my children. The fact you think I'm not their dad is insane. There's absolutely no way I am letting you poison our relationship or act in any way toxic to them. They mean far, far more to me than you ever have or ever will. Our relationship is over.
Mic drop.
And then I left. I feel like she's changed so much, but someone commented that she actually just is now showing her true colors, which is true perhaps. But I feel so led on and hurt. It's so hard to date what I do for a living. So hard. But as you guys said, I don't need to stay in a toxic relationship just because I'm scared it will be hard to find a new positive relationship. I also had people say it will be easier in my 30s compared to my 20s because people will want to settle down more. I hope that is true. But yes, we are completely through. Thank goodness. You deserve better. And what you deserve is to join us at 3 p.m. every weekday at 3 p.m. on YouTube Live. Just tap our profile.
Just tap it.
Just tap it.
I think this was what always needed to happen. I know that OP didn't want to originally break up with her, but he had the conversation and she still didn't get it. So at that point, it's just like you're not You can't change her mind if she doesn't want to change her mind.
Yeah, she's just very stuck
She's
on
not
this.
willing to hear you out.
I wonder why. I wonder why she was so like latched onto the idea where it's like, these are fake kids. They're not even yours. You didn't give birth to them. They're not your biologicals. They're not even adopted.
She's a hater, and there's a
get
chunk
rid of
left
them.
of the story.
I think she's really immature because again, they're pretty young.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
did we get an age for Emily or M?
I think
we
OP
got
was
any ages.
I know
he
he
started at 22,
but we didn't. Yeah, we don't know how. But I'm assuming he's not 30 yet.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's still pretty.
It's probably like
young.
mid to
In the
late
20s.
20s because it seems like he's based on the comment. Yeah, I think it's the reason that you're finding all of this out now is because this is when you started introducing the kids, and so before she thought, oh, I don't have to have a relationship with them. But when you finally said, okay, these kids are a part of my life, I'm trusting you to have that relationship, she didn't want that.
Really fumbled the bag super hard. From going like, yeah, I'm careful about who I bring around them because they've had like, past like bad relationships with their step parents, yada yada. And she's like, oh, whatever. I don't care. They're fake kids. Why do I care?
Yeah.
They're fake.
She said, let's double it.
Yeah, double it, give it, and give it to the next person. Like, do you even want
the next
these
foster kid,
creatures?
Yeah. It's Brittany Beach says she's one of those that starts dating a man and immediately takes the dad away from the kids. But in this case, she's more delusional than normal. Exactly. And Vahardamis says because if she considers them real kids, it's harder for her to kick them out of the house when they have bio ones. Exactly. Because she's just assuming when they turn 18, she's not going to have to deal with them.
Yeah. Joke's on you. They're still his kids.
They're still his kids.
Even when they turn 18.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy how that works? Let's just finish this off. We just got a little bit more. If I could use this moment to say, people, please look into fostering. No free sponsors. Sorry, we have to cut this out. Fostering is hard. So hard, but really worth it. You are actively creating a better future in life for an individual in ways that you might not even see, but you are. You are creating a safe space and loving environment for an individual that may have never had one before. You are helping a person have a positive future, whereas they may have just fallen into the cycle of abuse before. If you are a caring and loving person, please look into it.
Shout out to foster parents.
And shout out to foster care. Good foster parents. My family is close with a close family friend does fostering, and they've done a great job. And it's exactly what OP just described. It's like you're giving a loving environment to a person who just needs it and has never had it.
But that is the end of that story. And while we're getting the next story ready, we'll read some of your comments. Sam E, thank you for being a member for 8 months.
Wow.
8 months already, listening to you guys as I'm delivering mail and packages every day.
We love the post office.
Every day. We love to see it.
We love the post office.
Yes, post office.
Every day except
Mail
Sunday,
carriers.
though, right? Every day but Sunday.
Yeah. Are you doing it on Sunday? Patrick B, thank you for being a member for 7 months. Fostering is basically just brief adoption. And
don't tell OP that.
Yeah, OP is doing it for life.
Don't tell OP that.
I mean, it really just depends on what kind of fostering situation you're in, because there are situations where legally you can't adopt the child, but it's like a long-term fostering. So you're going to be with them until they're 18 legally. But there is another story to get into, so let's do it.
You know, Sophia, I had a fun little trip after we went to Paris.
Yeah.
Me and my girlfriend had our little 4th anniversary.
So cute.
It was great, but one thing did suffer in particular.
What?
That was my knees.
No.
I had what I called a knee melon when I landed.
I'm not familiar.
So when my rickety knees are pushed to the brink and fly for 15 hours, it just turns into a melon.
Coagulates.
It just inflates to the point where it's like a small melon, on my knee. I don't need to go to a farmer's market or anything.
No, you've got one homegrown.
It's ready to go. But as you can imagine, I can't walk.
Yes, I could imagine, and also witnessed.
Knee melons are not great for movement. So, when I landed in LAX, I was like, I have this knee melon. There's one place I have to go. You know where that was, Sophia?
What place?
ZocDoc! ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you.
And instantly book appointments with them online.
And these doctors all have verified reviews from actual real patients.
We're talking about booking appointments with tens of thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed, credible doctors and specialists.
And Sophia, you can filter for ones that take your insurance.
And treat basically any condition you're searching for.
And the typical wait time to see a doctor book on ZocDoc is just between 24 and 72 hours.
Sometimes even same day.
Guys, I use ZocDoc. We use ZocDoc. You should freaking use it.
Go to ZocDoc.com/OKOP and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today.
That's ZocDoc.com/OKOP, ZocDoc.com/OKOP. Let's get back to the show.
My brother's beliefs are hurting everyone around him. I need to cut him off.
I mean, it sounds like that's the right move.
Yeah, sounds healthy. So my brother, male 27, is sort of a niche micro-celebrity with a decent following. Like to the point where a small percentage of people who see this might know who he is. Ooh, everyone put your guesses in the chat.
Let's all guess who it is.
Most of his content relates to food and eating natural whole foods, but it is apparent from his videos he sees this diet as part of a certain ideology.
It's definitely not Kev Eats.
By the way, this comes from Just Suggestion 9503 on the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, you may know the type. He sees eating steak and drinking raw milk as an act of resistance to the government. He believes things like the World Economic Forum taking over the planet and feeding us bugs is real. He believes in things such as white genocide and the Great Replacement. He is anti any form of birth control. He believes that immigrants are invading our country and will be the failure of the United States like it was to the Roman Empire. And more crazy crap I can't remember off the top of my head. So this guy is insane.
Did he just blame immigration solely for the collapse of the entire Roman Empire?
All right, someone find this guy.
Someone's gotta find this guy.
Is this the guy who goes out to dinner and he just says a dumb hot take and then his response to it and he's like, all right, that's
He's like, no, I've actually done a lot of research on this. You just don't know.
Can I say though really quickly that the bugs thing, the eating the bugs it's not, I have no take on whether the World Economic Forum wants you to eat bugs, but crickets are a nearly complete food source.
Yeah, no, crickets are the best. I mean, they've got a lot of protein.
Macros, crickets
They're everywhere.
hit almost all of them.
I'm good, thank you.
They're basically a superfood.
You got cricket flour.
If you can grow a cricket farm in the apocalypse, you're going to be the king of your little apocalypse community because you got all the food you'll ever need.
Anyway, this has been slowly building for years to the point where he's a total nut job now. Should I have been calling him out on these things as they progressed? Yes. But at the same time, when his actions like this began, I, male 21, was only around 12 to 13. So in the early stages of this, during his 2016 Trump phase, I wasn't old enough to be politically informed, let alone navigate a conversation like this. Around 2020, he was a pretty mellow dude. I think he voted third party in that election. But at that point, he was a very reasonable guy. He was just pretty moderate, but wasn't crazy, got the COVID vaccine, but didn't take social distancing too seriously. He was just like a normal guy. However, around 2021 to 2022, he began to spiral. Oh no, he got into that little echo chamber.
Yeah, the delicious downward spiral into conservative. Yeah.
Before I go into explaining his history, I have to give more context to his personality. He has been extreme his entire life. When he gets into something, it has to be his entire personality. He is also extremely dramatic. When he was 12 and he went to church camp for a couple of days and learned about what ending your life was, afterwards he kept going on about how he was going to end himself every time a minor issue arose. My whole childhood he would be screaming with my parents back and forth, having all of these issues. And I remember as a child, this gave me the idea that he was a ticking time bomb, not to be challenged with, an idea that I believe to an extent has been instilled into me.
He's just don't even mess with that guy. That's the not to be challenged with.
I think so.
Just being like,
it's like you can't even fight him because he's just so far gone.
Just let him do what he's gotta do.
Let him go on his own.
And hopefully he doesn't do that one thing. Don't do that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess he likes raw meat, right?
What?
Was it the steak? Oh, was it not raw? It was just steak.
I think it's just steak.
There's a couple of guys on the internet that just eat raw meat.
I've seen that.
Yeah. They look very unwell.
To explain his spiral, it began with the internet workout challenge 75 Hard. Right, that was the start to his alt-right pipeline. Anyway, with the program, he thinks that it made him realize he was living life as a degenerate and that this world is filled with evil and degeneracy that needs to be condemned.
Ah, yes. As is known, as is tradition.
Everyone knows this, and he's the savior. Keep in mind, for him, things like immigrants wanting to come to the U.S. and refusing to assimilate is degeneracy. All people that are LGBTQ are participating in degeneracy, etc. All those things that come from hate are his idea of degeneracy. Sounds judgmental, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like this guy's got really, he's gotten really good at judging other people.
It sounds like he's really judgmental.
And
Sounds dramatic.
Just
a little bit.
Just a
degenerate, immigrant, degenerate,
it's like
horrible,
Duck, Duck, Goose.
degenerate. Yes.
But it's just degenerate.
It's just you're all degenerates. So, long story short, this led to his next phase, Orthodox Christianity. He just goes through hyperfixation.
It's a phase, yeah.
It's not just a phase, Mom.
I had an emo phase, and now Orthodox.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
He just has a really strange navigation strategy for his ADHD. He's just really, really hyper fixated on just the wrong stuff.
Really wrong stuff.
Yeah.
Now, all of this has been reflected in his content. I forgot he was a content creator. He was on and off trying to be an influencer since 2016, but hit his stride in 2020 on TikTok with bait content and no real consistent niche. He tried finding his niche for a while, first with male cheerleading, but eventually found it in this hatred under the guise of self-improvement. While a lot of the content would be food-related, he would throw in conspiracies about COVID-19 being fake, about the World Economic Forum, about Jewish people running the world, how the FBI supplies guns in school shootings, and more.
Oh, yeah, no, he just checked every box there.
He was like...
Every truth.
He just looked up alphabetized conspiracy theories and just went through. It was like, yep.
He's just taking notes and I'm going to make this in my entire personality for 3 weeks, and then I'm going to move on to this next one.
He has his own wheel that he spins, and he's just like, okay, what's my conspiracy theory for the week?
He has like a little pizza box where it's like, okay, what am I just going to flip a coin and that's it. That's my personality.
Can I actually do a really quick conspiracy, just a side conspiracy? So, okay.
Wait, let me do this.
We all know, right? What stops a vampire, folks?
Garlic.
But do you know what garlic actually does to your blood? It makes your blood thinner. And when your blood is thinner, it makes you easier to drink, which means garlic has just been seasoning for vampires this entire time.
It's just smoothing our blood.
And there you have it, folks.
And that's the truth.
And that's
Happy
a
spooky
theory.
season.
And of course, recently in this new Orthodox Christian phase, he now posts about that. Now, in this Orthodox Christian phase, in less than 6 months, he got married to someone from a Christian dating app, female 24, dropped out of his doctorate program to go live in a rural area, and they are expecting a child. Damn.
Okay.
This guy moves quick.
That dude became Orthodox Christian
really quick. Anyway, this takes us to now. I am dating a woman, female 20, who is a second-generation immigrant. We have been dating since we were 17 to 18. We are deeply in love. She comes from a hard background with her family not knowing American systems. She was forced from a young age to be independent and figure things out because her single mother did not know how all these systems works. And she was busy doing what she could to make ends meet. Despite this, she is doing great, currently has a 4.0 in college, and is all around an amazing girl. She's super kind, outgoing, etc. I could go on. I hope this isn't a problem for the brother.
I can only imagine.
I think it is. I think it's gonna.
Is he gonna maybe pivot and become hyper obsessed with LGBTQ rights?
Maybe he's gonna switch up. He's like, you know what? I'm actually really liberal now. I'm really progressive.
The turntables.
Now, my other brother, male 23, the middle child, is engaged to a first-generation immigrant. They met in college. She, female 24, can relate a lot to my girlfriend as they are both brown Muslim girls, and they share many similar experiences. It is slightly different because she comes from a high-status family in her native country and is a first-generation immigrant, so her background is a bit different from my girlfriend. But they have a lot in common and get along very well. As a whole, the four of us get along great and are pretty close. Anyway, my brother, here we go, has posted many things that are extremely scary and dangerous. Many of these things relate directly against us, anti-immigrant things that are anti-interracial marriage, yikes, anti-Muslim rhetoric, etc. If he was a normal Trumpy, I wouldn't even care too much. We all have family members we disagree with, but it's deeper than that. When my mom, female 52, tried to confront him on this, he went on a tangent and said tons of crazy crap. I'll just put 2 of these in a simple bullet point form to make it easier to read. 1. He talked about how in school he has been brainwashed to hate himself for being white and told my mom she hates herself.
Okay, well, wait. Here's my counterpoint. If you're so smart and you're such a genius, how did you get brainwashed into hating yourself because you're white? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, you sound pretty stupid. He said that our white culture is under attack from immigrants and that there is no issue with him wanting to preserve our race since we created the great civilized nations of this world and most of the great modern advances in math and science, which is just ignoring all of the great advancements from Asia, the Middle East, etc. Truly crazy. Truly ignoring so many of the advancements and technology. If it wasn't
for Asia and like if it wasn't for all of these non-white civilizations, the white culture would still be in the Dark Ages.
Literally.
Like when the fork and knife, like utensils were brought to Europe the first time, like by like a Arabian like royal like queen or princess or something. Like all the church clergy and stuff, like all the people who were in charge were like, how dare you devise of an instrument to eat food? God gave us hands to eat with. Also, and then the Black Plague happened.
And then they got the Black Plague.
Dude.
I'm like, all the white cultures were like they're pretty dirty. I mean, if we look at all of the cultures that had effective, what's the word? Like water.
Aqueducts.
Oh, yeah.
Look at you.
No.
The Romans did it best, though. But guess what?
But we had like
the
other
Romans
like
weren't all white.
Mayans and
they
stuff.
were not all white.
Yeah, no, this guy's crazy. And also, you wouldn't even have guns without non-white cultures.
This guy's an idiot. He just listens to what other people says and then takes it as the word, the gospel.
The gospel. The gospel.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was more, but I think you can all get the point. This is not just a normal conservative guy I disagree with or normal Trump supporter. This is someone who I would consider a white supremacist. Because of this, my girlfriend, my brother, his fiance, and I all do not want to be around him. Keep in mind, he also carries a weapon with him at all times. All times? I would not want to be around this man.
America, baby. That's what it's all about. America is about being weaponized at all tims.
Irrigation was the word I was looking for. Thank you, Kimberly.
Irrigation. Yes.
And
the way you described it, though,
maybe I was thinking about plumbing. Maybe there's another word I'm thinking of. Because of this, my parents are heartbroken and are constantly telling us about how we need to reach out to him and make it known how we feel because we need to talk about any grievances we have and make amends.
No, you don't.
No, you don't need to make amends with this man. Keep him far away
with your
from you.
Heavily armed brother who's
scary,
making it clear he hates you and your partner and that you're not straight and that one of you is not white. Don't talk to that guy.
I don't think we need to talk to him. We don't always have to forgive everyone.
No, dude.
My dad went on a long rant about how he has had a lot of family drama because his siblings used to be jealous of him being spoiled as the youngest child and other juvenile things like that. He told me that even though I think this is a big issue, it is not in the grand scheme and it is just as important as those small family feuds. This guy, the dad is like, he's allowing this to keep going. Like he's not doing anything to stop this brother, is not taking this seriously.
Dad might be a bit of an influence here, I'm feeling. And also, I don't think we're getting the whole story when Dad's like, yeah, my siblings were jealous of me for
they were
being
so
the youngest
jealous because
favorite.
it was so freaking cool.
Yeah, it's like, well, maybe you actually suck.
He keeps talking about how having a brother is such a magical thing and how I'm throwing that all away by not wanting to communicate how I feel about him. Doesn't OP have like another brother? I thought that was all, like OP has two brothers. Yeah. He already know, like they already know what it's like to have a good brother. Keep in mind, my brother knows how we feel. He did not reach out immediately after my parents tried to talk to him about this. My parents had to push him. This led to him trying to apologize once, but it was more along the lines of him just explaining his worldview, and then ended in him saying he would not post about the doom and gloom anymore. No dialogue of the actual at display. Anyway, today I was going over everything I know about him in my mind, and out of frustration, I called him and confronted him about it. I will admit I got pretty frustrated and wasn't as clear as I could have been, but I put everything out on the table. I could tell he was taken aback by how upfront I was and how I knew things he maybe thought I didn't know because he began to stutter and seemed confused about how I knew things, but he then began to defend those positions. He began to start...
he was just looking for like, yeah, I'm just going to mansplain the whole world to you. And then she was like, I actually have thoughts of my own. And he's like, no, wait, you're not supposed to do that.
How did you foiled all of my plans.
Knowledge.
But he began to start trying to debate me on these things. But I told him I didn't care to talk about policy and that I was simply making it clear from my own mouth that if he's going to post hateful things out in the world that are anti-immigrant and refer to them as barbaric invaders, crazy, people who are immigrants are going to react accordingly and not want to be around him. Well, afterwards, I talked to my parents for like 7 hours straight. While we agreed on some, there was a lot we disagreed on. They kept telling me how I needed to talk to him and work this out, how we need a happy family, and me going off on him will not lead to any reconciliation, and how me not communicating with him is the reason our family is falling apart.
Yeah, sure. You not communicating with him is why your family's falling apart.
That is the reason.
Not because he's a certifiable
crazy man.
POS.
Mm-hmm. And they defended him in what he said to an extent, telling me he's ignorant, but that I am ignorant as well because I don't know why he believes those things. I told him I don't need to give grace to someone 6 years older than me, and that I want to just make it known how I feel and he can react accordingly. But they don't see it that way. And Duchess Casada says, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't OP a guy? I think OP might be.
No, I thought OP was
I'll double check.
Was female or
Let's see.
Because I thought that was part of why they were so nervous, is because it was like, oh, it's like my brother's talking about how he hates gay people, and
I think that was just a side note. But it also doesn't say. It just says my brother, male, 27. Yeah, we don't actually know OP's gender. You know what we do know, though? That you can join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Yeah, regardless of your gender,
you can do that.
Regardless
of your gender, you can do that.
I think that, like, this guy's right to carry a firearm maybe needs to be taken away with all of the crazy unhinged stuff he keeps posting on the internet, and like,
it's a little scary.
Yeah, I don't think. I think maybe relevant agencies need to be informed about this guy's state of mind.
Hopefully, he's on some sort of list with all of his online content. But yeah, I think that honestly, you don't owe any of your family members a relationship if they are acting like this, and if they're actively hurting your loved ones and your partners.
Yeah.
You already have you have a brother. You don't need two brothers.
Yeah. There's a limit.
There's a limit.
There's a limit to where grace can be given.
Exactly.
I think, which is like kind of what OP was saying. Or it's like, this person's 6 years older than me. Like, I don't need to like give them like, the benefit of the doubt of like, I guess you'll learn or you'll change. It's like, nah, this is just who you are, and if you're comfortable feeling this, I don't really want anything to do with you.
I'm not comfortable being around you.
And yeah, that's.
And there you have it.
But I think
there are some fan funding. What were you to say?
No, I don't know. It's just seems like a guy who can get a little off the rails, and
easily swayed by things.
Be a little intense about things. So hopefully he doesn't hyper focus on trying to make your life miserable because he feels like you slighted him. So
hopefully,
again, get the firearm out of his hands. That's what I would say.
Just the fact that he carries it all the time.
This is extra.
Yeah, I hope he's not taking it into church, man.
Hey, well,
hey,
nope.
It's Brittany Beach says relevant agencies won't do anything until it's too late. So many things they know of before it happens, and they choose not to do anything. Yup. But while we get ready for this next story, let's read some of the donations.
45s for Father Christ. I had to say it. I had to say it. It came into my head. I had to say it.
What time are we at for this episode? No, like how long?
Probably like
20.
We're only at 20?
For this episode or for that story?
For the episode.
Oh.
It's Brittany Beach. Thank you for being a member for 4 months. Dakota, you gained my 6-year-old daughter as a fan. She looked at you earlier and said, Mom, I like that guy. I said, me too. He's funny. We love you all. Look at you go.
Hey, thanks, Brittany. I appreciate it. I like you guys, too.
I like you guys.
I like you guys. Hey, you all look pretty nice.
Yeah, pretty nice. Pretty nice.
I bet you're funny. You're probably funny, too.
What's up?
Nothing. Fun.
What's the thing on the time?
I'm trying to find it.
It should be at the bottom.
So the way that
like
time works, right?
Like the red recording
time only goes forward. Except if you're a reverse tachyon.
Mm-hmm. Can we go back to the chat?
Recently been discovered. Does anyone in the chat know about reverse tachyons?
Tachyon drive.
I can't find it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help you. Oh, you found it.
Sound off if you know about reverse
45.
tachyons. It's actual time travel.
Actual?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
Yeah, so there's these like really they're sort of like quarks. They're really small particles that have been observed at the poles, the north and the I believe the south. I can't remember which one.
Mm-hmm.
But they can only move in one direction. They're like direction locked. But scientists have observed tachyons traveling backwards along the same path that they were traveling, which means that the tachyons could theoretically be time traveling.
But the thing with time traveling
in a weird
is that
math way.
I feel like if someone time traveled, I don't know. I think there's a bunch of things because it's like, wouldn't we know?
I don't know if someone has time traveled, but it's like.
But they would have had
these particles seem to be not following the rules and laws of the universe.
That's true. But I feel like if we had invented time travel, or if we were going to invent time travel,
we would have seen some by now.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they invented invisibility cloaks at the same time.
But let's invent this next story.
I just got my brother's DNA results, and he's not biologically related to anyone in my family. Context: I am a 27-year-old woman. My brother is 20. We were born in Venezuela, but our parents are 100% Galician.
Galician?
Oh, there is an I in there, yeah. They are spelled almost identical. Don't laugh that hard. And we have lived in Spain for almost 18 years now. We moved when I was 9 and he was about 2. By the way, this story comes from user Big Pensamientos on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I took my test almost a year ago and was obsessed. I loved all the information it gave me. I persuaded my mom and my first cousin, my dad's brother's daughter, to also take it months ago. And I wasn't able to convince my dad, but I finally managed to convince my brother to take it. He doesn't care about this kind of stuff much, so I promised I'd manage it for him. And when I got the results, I'd do a reveal for him, kind of like a big gender reveal, for babies.
For babies.
But this time it's for our genetic code.
Yeah, we're figuring out your gender.
Yes.
Live.
Genome reveal. Oh my gosh. Well, I got the results on Tuesday, and I haven't been able to tell anyone the results. I've talked with Ancestry customer support, and they told me the results are right, and it is the correct person, but that they're looking into it anyway. Basically, my brother doesn't appear in my matches. And in my brother's matches, I don't show up, and neither does my mom, and neither does my cousin from my dad's side. In his matches, I only see people I've never heard of. None of my matches show up in his. His ethnicities are different too. My mom has 60% Portuguese, for example. I got 40% Portuguese. I think my dad has a bit too, and that's why I got more than 30. My brother doesn't have any Portuguese at all. Another super weird thing, he has 44% indigenous Americas, Colombia, and Venezuela. My mom doesn't have that. I don't have that. My cousin on my dad's side doesn't have that. Another thing, my brother is 12% Southern Italian. I don't have any Italian, and neither do my mom and my cousin. I'm freaking out because it's not like my mom cheated, because then at least he'd be my half-brother and related to my mom.
Yeah, no, it's just like, where did he come from?
Oh, well, he can't be adopted. I was 6 when my mom was pregnant with him. I remember all of it. I remember them telling me she was pregnant and that I'd have a baby brother. I remember hospital visits. I even remember when he was born. When I held him for the first time in the hospital, he was so tiny.
I think it's a switched at birth. That's my conspiracy
Switched
theory.
at birth. Could they have done an egg and sperm donation thing? Does that even happen in Venezuela in 2004? I am 100% sure I am biologically related to my parents, so I know they aren't infertile. Were they maybe just not infertile when they conceived me? Could simply Ancestry have lied to me and gotten the wrong person? I am so confused. Has this happened to anyone before? I am scared of asking him to try another DNA company, because I don't want him to ask why. I am scared of telling my parents in case I reveal some huge secret, but my mom seemed normal when she knew my brother took a test. I don't know what steps to take moving forward. Let's just get into this edit. I'm going to address some of the comments here. 1, he has never had bone marrow surgery, which I guess that is an important thing to ask, because if you get bone marrow surgery, it can change your DNA. Most people have asked if my brother looks different from my parents and me. This is something I never questioned because I had no reason to, but my brother has darker skin than us. It is darker, but not enough to ever think that he wasn't biologically related to us. His nose certainly is different, and so is his mouth. He's shorter than my dad and me, but taller than my mom. He is the shorter guy in our family, but I think he's still growing. That's a nice thing to put.
Yeah, he's still growing.
He's short, but he's still
He's
growing.
doing great.
Hair texture and hair color is very similar to all of us, curly and brown hair. Though his hair is darker, ours is much lighter. My dad is almost blonde and I have very light brown hair too. His eyes are very dark brown. My dad has green, my mom light brown, and I have hazel. When it comes to personality, he's just like my dad. Nothing stands out about his personality in terms that would make me think he isn't biologically related. I don't think usually your personality doesn't really come from your genetics.
Yeah. That's just your...
I think that's still an argument, though, the nature versus nurture.
But I think for the most part,
there's actually a really good movie about that I will talk about later.
Okay,
he is and will always be my brother. I don't care about his DNA. He doesn't show up as a match for me at all. I searched his name, and he doesn't appear. Neither do I show up in his matches, and neither does my mom. There are no CMs shared? Common mutuals, yes. I don't know. It's the genes. Centimeters? How many centimeters do you share with your family?
How tall are you?
I think, well, clearly this is like about the genetic match
Yeah,
or whatever.
something
So
like
it's
that.
like he has like less than a third of like the same genetic
It's
match.
centimorgan. A centimorgan. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Look up.
Cool. We're going to ignore that.
Common matches.
A unit of measurement used to determine the likelihood that a DNA segment will be passed on to a descendant intact.
Common matches. Common matches.
Centimeters.
Centimorgans. Okay. My mom is 60% Portuguese, 33% Spanish, 5% Irish, and 2% Welsh. I am 58% Spanish, 40% Portuguese, 1% Irish, and 1% French. My dad hasn't taken a test. My brother is 44% indigenous Venezuela and Colombia, 36% Spanish, 12% Southern Italy, 4% Basque, and 4% north of Africa.
I think it's got to be a switched at birth thing. If there was no cheating because neither of the parents were related, no adoption, got to be switched at birth.
Maybe it's just a recessive. Maybe he's just got all the recessive genes.
I mean, we didn't also.
I took biology.
The dad didn't take a test.
Oh, wait, yeah, dad didn't take a test. Dad is dad.
Wait,
those are all
okay,
dad's genes. Wait, what are we talking? Making all
What are
this?
we arguing about? The mom was. Opie said they were at the hospital.
But
with
I'm
the
just saying,
mom.
like the dad, like he
What,
may
the
not
dad
know.
brought a baby and was like,
Well,
here.
No,
They may not
staging
know.
a-
these
They
could
may
just
not know.
these could just be dad's genes that got passed on.
Because these
That's not
aren't
how
like
genes work.
50%. It's like
You split your. That's not how genes work, guys.
the percentages here are very skewed. So
But let's read this edit.
Edit numero dos. I would love to respond to everyone, but there are so many comments. I will address some things here. My brother did not prank me. I saw him spit in the tube, and I myself put the tube into its box. And these guys are freaky.
I saw it.
And later on, I personally put it in the post box. The saliva in the tube that I sent was 100% his. A few people have mentioned that it is weird that we have such a big age gap and that possibly my mom stopped being as fertile by the time my brother was born. I was an accident that happened when both of my parents were 19, so my mom was still pretty young when she had my brother. It is indeed possible that she wasn't fertile and used an egg donor, but if that happened, I'm sure it wasn't because of her age. As for the results not being my brother's and it being an ancestry mistake, many of you pointed out things that I hadn't thought about. Like if I got someone else's results, then that somebody would have gotten my brother's results. Therefore, I'd have matched with him anyway. And I didn't, so nobody else got his results. The other thing is that if it was a random person's test, it really would be a crazy coincidence that the results are of a Venezuelan and not a random European or Asian. It's too much of a coincidence that it's Venezuelan DNA. The consensus seems to be baby swapping in the hospital or informal adoption because my mom's baby died. Few have said fake pregnancy before an adoption, but I felt the baby kicks with my own hands and face, so that one isn't right.
Baby kicked you in the face?
Got kicked in the face before he was even born. That baby was born to be a warrior. I do not know what it is. I have been mentally preparing myself all day. Tomorrow morning, I will call my mom and ask her directly if they had any help conceiving him and or if he's adopted. Those two would be the better options. If it's neither, well, let's just hope it's one of those options.
Mm-hmm.
There is an update.
Yeah, I think it's got to be either update, switched at birth, and that's it.
I'm
the only two
gonna
options.
say that the update is literally just like we don't know what you're talking about. Like maybe we need to test the dad. The dad is the other half of the genetic profile here. They're making all these assumptions and they don't even know the dad's.
Do we?
yeah, but like again, I see it from the chat. Like they have no real. The brother and sister have no real like connection.
Yeah.
So that's
he
where
would
it's like
still have a connection.
you would still have at least some percentage. I mean, there
unless
is,
OP's
but like,
not his dad's son.
I don't know. I guess that's right. Science nerds knowing all about genes and stuff.
Yeah, I know
Gosh.
genes.
yeah, I know Levi's and
Boo.
Sponsor.
Everyone boo this
Free
man.
sponsoring.
Boo. Boo him.
Get out of here.
Boo's in the chat.
What is it? Your first day on the job?
Come on.
I'm dad.
All right.
Dad genes.
Update.
Update. A few days ago, I made a post here talking about how I got my brother's AncestryDNA results and found that he didn't match with me, my mom, or my paternal cousin, making it seem like he isn't biologically related to my family. As many of you and Ancestry customer support pointed out, it was unlikely that the test was wrong. It was much more likely that the test was right and that there was something else going on, namely that my brother wasn't really biologically my brother. I talked to my mom last Saturday. I'd planned to just call her on Friday, but I was really stressed out and nervous and hadn't slept at all. And I needed to work. So I figured it made more sense to wait for the weekend. Plus, I wanted to talk to her face to face. I preferred this, and I think my mom would prefer this too, considering the topic I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I think it's best to be like, so mom, did you maybe have a baby switcheroo?
Yeah.
Like,
You're just in the car one day. You're like, hey, mom.
that's a weird text message to send.
Yeah.
You got to do that in person. Those are all irrelevant details that I don't know why I'm explaining. I'm sorry. Soon after I got to my parents' house, I got my dad to go buy me some stuff at the supermarket and used the time alone to ask my mom if she remembered weeks earlier when I got my brother to do the test. It had happened in their house and my brother had struggled to spit, so it was memorable. Pause. She said that, of course, she remembered. Yeah, of course I remember your brother spitting into that tube.
He couldn't spit. He had no
it was-
spit. He had dry mouth.
That
You had to give him some milk.
That dry mouth needed some milk. Riley, anyway, she said that, of course she remembered and asked me if I finally got the results. I told her that yes, I got them, but that the result was strange. She asked me what that meant, and then I directly asked her if my dad and her had used fertility help to have my brother. I guess that something in my tone and face freaked her out because she suddenly got very serious and said something like, "No, why are you asking about that? No. So I told her that the results showed that he wasn't her biological son, and he wasn't related to me or my dad's niece or anyone that she and I had matched with on Ancestry. And that was very weird, but DNA can't be wrong. And I asked her if he really was theirs biologically or if they used embryo donations or if he was adopted. Basically, she was in disbelief about what I was saying, and she said the test must be wrong.
The test is never wrong.
And of course, my brother was hers. The test is what is wrong. I showed her my brother's results, the ethnicity estimates. I opened my app and showed her my matches and compared, etc. She simply didn't believe any of it. She said that it was wrong. I reminded her that she and I matched with some second and third cousins that we knew, that I matched with my paternal cousin. I told her that it's not wrong, that companies lie and they suck, but it's not lying about this. Matching people with DNA is very easy and final, and they have no reason to lie. I explained how I spent so much time talking with Ancestry support trying to figure out if there was a mistake, and they assured me that there wasn't one. I explained to her also how my brother's results couldn't have gotten mixed up with someone else's because what were the odds of getting a Venezuelan person's results and not just some random person from the US, since that's where most of the clients are. At this point, she was freaking out and shaking and confused, and I 100% believe her. She is being honest. My brother was conceived naturally and she gave birth to him.
It's got to be switched at birth.
This is a very crazy situation here. Yeah, I think switched at birth might have to be the winner here.
Mm-hmm.
When my dad came back, I told him the same thing and asked the same questions. The same argument as before happened, except it was now the two of them. He said that he is theirs and that the test is wrong. Anyway, my mom was angry and crying, and my dad was very serious and finally brought up the possibility of my brother being switched on accident by nurses at the hospital. I was the first to say it out loud, but obviously everyone else had been thinking it. They denied that they were ever given another baby, but they also don't seem totally sure. My mom was shaking and my dad was mostly quiet. They said that he was taken to a room with a lot more newborns and always slept there. He was barely in my mom's room. My parents said they don't remember if there were any tags on him with his name or their names, but they think that there weren't tags on him. But there were for sure tags in the little baby's cribs in that room. I mean, if the hospital's got to keep track of the babies somehow, right?
How are what are they doing?
What were they doing that day? They were just like, guys, the guy who puts all the tags on the babies called in sick, and we legally can't put
Just
any
give
tags on the babies
give
today.
One of them. Closest match. It's
Look at the
fine.
babies really closely and try to remember where they go.
They're
okay?
all babies.
I mean, they're all the same.
Yeah, there's no difference.
Okay. But then, of course, if they put the wrong baby in the wrong crib, that was that. They said that basically he was born, they cut the umbilical cord, kind of wiped all the stuff off of him, put him in my mom's arms, and then quickly took him away. The next time they saw him, he was much cleaner and softer, and they say he didn't have some sort of white film on him.
He wasn't as white as as we thought he was.
He seemed like the same baby, but in my opinion, after seeing him maybe 10 minutes at most right after birth with the crazy amount of hormones and adrenaline on both sides, would you really be able to recognize the newborn? I don't know.
I wouldn't.
I mean, I think the obvious answer here is no.
Yeah.
Have you seen a newborn? Like
they're pretty wrinkly.
They all look like old men
Yeah.
and women. Well, and they all look like
yeah,
old
Benjamin
men.
Button stuff.
It's like when you vacuum seal something.
Yeah,
that you
it's like
take
all
it
the
out and
cracks.
It's like a little bit
It's still
yeah,
wrinkly.
Yeah.
It's like expanding back to its normal
Exactly.
size. Okay, anyway, that's the update. My parents assured me that he was conceived naturally and that my mom gave birth to him. I believe this is the truth. They were way too shocked and emotional for it to be a lie. We bought a bunch of new tests, Ancestry for my dad and 23andMe for my parents and my brother. Also, my dad said that he would investigate how to do paternity and maternity tests with a doctor. They will tell my brother today. They'll tell him, and then I'll give him access to the account I'd made for him on Ancestry so that he can freely look at his results and do what he pleases with his DNA. Well, like I said, that conversation with my parents happened on Saturday. Yesterday on Sunday, I visited them again, and they seemed very disturbed, very worried. So I'm concerned about them and my brother, and I really hope that whatever the results are to the other DNA tests, that nobody loses their minds. I think my parents will love my brother just the same. He is their son, but I know that if he isn't biologically theirs, it means that there's a person out there that is biologically their son. My parents will go crazy trying to find him if that's the case. And it's Venezuela. Feels impossible to find someone there. And he might not even be there considering all the migration in the past few years. And what if he had a bad life, a bad family? I don't know. I'm so worried about this, so I can't even imagine how my parents feel. As for my brother, I think he will take it well. He's really strong, understanding, and smart, and he's never cared about blood. He's always said as much. I think it will shock him and disturb him as well, but I don't think he'll go as crazy. If the results are negative, I'll make sure to be there for him if he needs me and be the best sister I can be. By the way, if you want to be the best sister ever to us, you can join us live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. Just tap that profile.
Be a great sister.
Yeah.
V Hardmus says, you joke, but they do not have the same procedures in every country. Some really do just have tags on the bassinets. It's easier to mix up a baby than folks think. Kiara Tyler says, I think you would be able to recognize your child, given that my baby is mixed and therefore very recognizable. But I've seen many newborns at work, and I think they all look different.
Me personally, I would just take the challenge mode of just scramble them up.
Yeah.
Scramble them up real quick. Let me see if I can actually find the one that's mine.
Yeah, let's see how
this baby kind of looks like you guys. He's yours.
You just take the baby that vibes fit.
Yeah, this baby's got great vibes.
Yeah, it's this one for sure. I think maybe we just need to start putting like a little bow on them or something.
Just write the name right on their forehead.
It's like when you go to large store that I won't name.
Just get name tags.
Large store. Then when they check, when they mark your receipt.
Gorst Gore.
Is
there
an update? I would really love. Can we look into this? I want to see if we have an update and if they found out that this baby was switched at birth.
Maybe it was a good thing for the family, because they were like, yeah, I think he's going to take this fine. He's really strong and cool and intelligent and sounds like you got the coolest baby in the hospital.
Maybe your other baby was kind of lame.
Yeah, maybe your other baby was lame and had a white film over it and was going to
which everyone is saying was afterbirth.
Is that afterbirth?
But maybe that was just always the way that he was going to be.
Yeah, maybe he's just a baby with a white film on him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's being studied. Maybe he's got powers.
He's like 11.
Your actual baby has powers and is still underneath that hospital being observed because they have psychokinetic powers.
Yeah, and one day he's going to find you and there's going to be a Demogorgon.
And he's going to want Eggo waffles, be one of the most famous people on Earth.
We found an update!
I found an update.
No way.
I'm doing so good over here.
Let's
Look
do
at
it.
you go. W's.
Yes.
W's in the chat.
Only cheering for Keon now.
Oh my God.
Gold
we have
star.
gold stars.
Put it on my,
They're
put it on my
Riley's.
one
I
dimple.
love that.
Put on my little
Aw.
dimple.
Riley's such a
right
gold
here.
star guy. He's got 1,200 of them.
All right, look at the update. Don't look at me. It's not about me. It's about the update.
Yes. Okay. A few days ago, I made a post here talking about how I got my brother's ancestry DNA results and found that he didn't match with me, my mom, or my paternal cousin. Did we read this? That was more. I told her. She asked me.
Yeah, we did read this.
Yeah. Is this the same update?
We read this.
Riley?
L Keon in the chat.
Yeah. Take away Keon's W's. When my dad.
I'm sorry about that.
Maybe.
Yep. But
I like reading the very bottom of it, and she's like, it wasn't really much of an update.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Like, what?
That was there was no new
That was
information.
like the most recent thing I found. And
Yeah, no, that was the same one, guys. Take away
take
Keon's
away my gold star, and I'm gonna
gold
frown.
stars.
Yep. Take away all of the gold stars.
Now put L's in
Yep.
the chat. Put
L's
L's.
in the chat.
L's in the chat for Keon giving us story.
Fake update.
Giving you fake news
Instead
Fake
of saying
updates.
Not real news.
Made you real excited.
I'm gonna say
It's a-
periwinkle orbs.
I am
instead
gonna
of
get fired
blue.
now.
You're getting fired.
Balls.
But I think that OP's brother was probably switched at birth. That's my theory.
I agree with that theory. I think it's
Excellent.
the easiest theory to agree with.
We love that.
I think it makes the most sense. And I think we can also agree that the biological child had powers and is being held underneath the
I
hospital.
think we all agree with this.
Yeah.